Welcome back, friends and foes alike, to another edition of LFG. I kid. Oh my gosh. LFG, your unfiltered franchise education and information. Leanne Caruso is your host, and Michael Hyam here, your co-host. Leanne, how you doing? How was your week?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. Are you prepared? Hello, is this thing on, Leanne? What?
We're just so everyone knows we're recording so many podcasts in one week. I don't even know what I've said on each podcast, so I'm doing really swell.
Swell. There you
Swell.
go. I like that. You pulled that word from the vault.
Good. How are you doing, Michael?
I am great. I am fantastic. The conference was amazing, and I am getting ready now to head out to a couple of back-to-back trips, SMB Summit, and to Las Vegas, and also considering booking another vacation before Let's Grow, so that I can leave a week's work to you while I'm in the sunshine. And how about you, Leanne? How's it going?
Good, yeah. The travel schedule really isn't quite done yet, but yeah, I've got a few personal trips as well, just due to holiday stuff. But I'll be heading to India Atlantic, which is kind of the Melbourne area. I do Thankmas with a good friend of mine and her daughter. So we do Thanksgiving on one day and Christmas the next day with their kids. And then I'll be heading to the Keys to see my mom. And yeah, I just feel like there's so much travel this fall. But
So much.
so much, and we're just in the middle of it.
No, crazy. Yeah, it was good. Everything's been good. It's okay. We forge ahead. By the way, for anyone who is inquiring or wondering about expansion into California, I know a lot of you do not like California and you think it is not franchise friendly, but I will tell you that our franchise show in Los Angeles was phenomenal. People came out in the thousands, and it was just unreal. It is just a market that you can't be left alone. It was really, really good. So just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so let's get to it. What do we have up, Leanne?
What do we have up? We have one of the coolest ladies in franchising, and you recognize her anywhere she goes because she's got blue hair. It's Karen Booz, Director of Growth and Development at AnswerConnect.
Love Karen. And Karen is also an amazing sponsor of many events. I see AnswerConnect all over the place, always advocating for the franchise industry. Super excited to have Karen on. But before we have Karen on, we're going to talk about what's growing on. This segment of What's Growing On is sponsored by Franchise Assembly, a franchise events company bringing resources and education to franchise brands and people. Leanne, take it away. What's growing on?
All right, I have a perfect topic for Karen Booz on here. How to create customer loyalty and use extreme customer service as a competitive force to dominate your market. I found this article on Entrepreneur. But they say that building customer loyalty requires going beyond satisfaction with wow moments and anticipatory service. A perfect product, caring service, timeliness, and service recovery are keys to satisfied customers. And loyal customers are less price sensitive. I thought that was interesting, more forgiving, and eager to try new offerings. So I know many of us, our franchise systems have to deal with customer service, probably 99% of them. So I think it's important to share those things as well with our franchisees.
Absolutely. Okay, so the IFA, the International Franchise Association, has appointed 16 new franchise professionals to serve on its board of directors. I thought that was interesting. They include, as always, franchisors, franchisees, and suppliers. They also announced the 2025 officers of the IFA Board of Directors to include Chair Mary Thompson, of course, CEO of BNI, Vice Chair Sam Ballas, CEO East Coast Wings and Grill, second Vice Chair Gary Robbins, President, the GNC Robbins Company, immediate past Chair Steve Hockett, CEO, great clips. Yeah, they did not take us on the board, so whatever. Congratulations to everyone. We kid.
I don't think we're in the running.
Well, we're supplier, you know. Hello, Matt.
Do you like chilies?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
All right. Well, I hear they're bouncing back. I didn't know
Bouncing back.
they bounced away, but I feel like there's so
Oh.
much competition with those kinds of restaurants. I'm amazed how they all stay open.
Oh, you meant Chili's, the franchise. Sorry, I thought you meant like hot pepper chilies. I love chilies like hot peppers, but I'm just kidding. To be honest, I think there are 3 Chili's restaurants in Canada, but they're way on the West Coast. It would take me like a 4-hour plane ride to get there.
Wow.
I have never been to a Chili's, but I see their
They probably
ads on
can't.
TV all the time. It
Yeah.
looks really nice.
Yeah. I don't know about nice, but you probably can't even eat chilies anyway, right?
I mean, I can eat hot chilies, but what do you mean by they're bouncing back, Leanne? What do you mean?
Well, Chili's has worked its way back into the minds of consumers and influencers through listening to customer sentiment and developing creative messaging. The fast casual chain has recently experienced an increase in sales and social media buzz. After several years of decline following the pandemic, Chili's worked with multiple creative agencies to leverage pop culture and social media trends to resonate with customers. Their strategies have translated to results. In the most recent earnings call, Chili's reported a 15% year-over-year increase in sales and a 6% increase in fourth quarter traffic. How did they do it, you ask? Social media, social trends and viral moments. I know they've got a few things on TikTok that are happening, including like an engagement and all that stuff. Now apparently people are getting engaged at Chili's, and then price sensitive messaging. So making sure that they're catering to all the price sensitivities out there with the economy the way that it is.
That is great. You know
Chili's.
what? And I do have to say, and this is not a selfless plug, but not because Leanne's wearing that beautiful Let's Grow t-shirt, but this is a true testament to why everyone and all franchisors, whether you think you're at the top of the food chain or lower on the totem pole, you have to keep up to date with the latest trends, the latest education, everything, what's going on, what are people saying, what's working, what's not. And that's exactly what we preach at the Let's Grow conference. 30 different seminars on all things franchising, on a wide variety of topics. So that is great to hear. I'm happy to, I always love hearing successful success stories. That's great.
Yeah, I think I would say too, like the social media, is really good and you can have some viral moments. But you also have to keep in mind that it can also tank your business. So doing it thoughtfully and hiring the right strategic partners is key there.
Fantastic. Yep. All right. So if you want to share what's going on in your world, then please send us an email to podcast@franchiseassembly.com. I'll say that one more time, podcast@franchiseassembly.com. And it's been a while since I jabbed at Leanne. So let me just say that if you do email us, there is a 5% chance that it will air on this podcast.
Listen, the news stories that we get are just just pitches, like podcast pitch, like guest pitches.
Yeah.
Nobody's given us news. We'll take news. We like news.
We do.
I have to defend myself every time you dig me.
Good. All right. And
all right, we're on to franchise royals.
Here we go.
Here we go.
This segment is sponsored by Hello Mastermind, professional development peer advisory groups for franchise professionals and executives. We currently have executive franchise marketers and franchise development execs with just a few spots left. Visit hello-mastermind.com for more info. And this is actually, you know what? I'm so glad it is sponsored by Hello Mastermind because, again, the continued development in yourself is imperative if you want to stay up to date. I strongly urge everyone to invest in yourselves, or at least get the company that you work for to invest in you, whatever. But the point is, continue with peer advisory is great. These conferences are fantastic. But let's not take away from the franchise royals. Leanne, tell us who's up and who is your friend. So I think we might have got cut off on that last part there. Leanne is always so eager to cut me down. Just kidding. Leanne, okay, sorry. Who is your franchise royal? Wait, but before we get to your royal, Leanne.
No, my royal. Me first.
Okay, you go first. Who's your royal?
My
I really like
royal.
that shirt though, but I gotta tell you, the pink looks really good on you.
You like it?
Yeah, it
Thanks.
looks good.
Thanks. You want one? You want a pink shirt?
I'm okay. I mean, nothing wrong with that,
No.
It is
All right,
21st.
my franchise royal, I'll split it up because I'll split it up. Is we just had Let's Grow Canada and we had our title sponsors and they were it was Architect and they have been so supportive of Let's Grow and both you and I, anything that we do, they're supporters of this podcast. They're supporters of the National Franchise Show. They're supporters of Let's Grow, both Dallases and Toronto. So I'll say I'll pick one and you pick the other. So mine is I'll do Monty Miller, Chiefs fan himself.
I will do Madav. Madav, you know what, my brother? It is so much fun hanging out with you guys, and you guys are class act individuals. I kid you not. There's not a lot of people. You can't even say that about me. You guys are true class acts. You wear your hearts on your sleeves. And we just love you. I mean, I have so many good things to say, but I don't want to, continue on in the podcast. Leanne, sorry.
Yeah, no, we both realized like that was a little hiccup because we both realized we had the same franchise royal. So you can tell we don't rehearse this.
But
So
talk about being in sync,
right.
right?
Right. So yeah, so speaking of Architect, before we head to our show and tell segment, let's take a moment to learn about our podcast sponsor, and that would be Architect. Managing multiple franchise locations? Meet Maestro by Architect, your ultimate business intelligence solution. Gain a centralized view of your entire network, leverage predictive analytics, and make data-driven decisions to boost productivity and profitability. Seamlessly integrate with QuickBooks and automate tasks like royalty payments. Trusted by successful franchises, franchises. Maestro transforms operations across retail, healthcare, education, and sports. Visit architect.com and take your franchise to the next level.
Okay, so it is time for show and tell. For those of you that don't know, show and tell, of course, is meant to be the time where our guests shine and of course, drop some valuable knowledge and insights surrounding our franchise industry, best practices, ideas, thought leadership. Today, we have Karen Booz, Director of Growth and Development at AnswerConnect. Before I say, I got to tell you guys, right before this, we just heard some phenomenal, amazing stories. Maybe when we do LFG after dark, we'll share those ones. But that was amazing, Karen. Phenomenal. Welcome to the show. Please tell us about yourself, Karen.
Well, thank you, first of all, Leanne and Michael, for having me. I'm excited to be here today. You've introduced me already, but I'm passionate about helping franchises grow. And the way that I get to be a part of the franchise system is one human voice at a time. There's really an art to what we do and to interacting with clients that pick up the phone, even still today. And that's what my focus and passion is on. So I really get to live that dream every day with the franchise system.
That's great. Yeah, she was like her own opening act. Like she really primed us up. It was really cool.
It was amazing.
If you ever get a chance to meet Karen, just tell her have her tell you at least one travel story. She's got many. Thank you for Karen for being on here. And those of you who don't know Karen, I don't know why you don't, but you should, but she's the beautiful woman with blue hair. So I think at the end, I want you to tell, I've heard the story, but I'd love for you to tell everyone why you have blue hair, but we'll do that at the end. And so basically, actually, can you tell us first before we go into the questions, can you tell us what AnswerConnect is?
Mhm. Yeah, AnswerConnect is a live answering service. So we have over 1,000 people that answer phones in the US, the UK, and Canada for our clients. And what we want to do is stop clients who are calling in from shopping. Because when was the last time you called and left a message for anybody?
Right.
Right. So AnswerConnect, our purpose and for being is answering the phone with a live human voice, really connecting. We take calls 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We can set appointments. We can act as a receptionist. We can screen and qualify leads, and we can make outbound calls to fill forms. So for franchisors, FLDC, just at FLDC, Franchise Update Media just said only 50% are even calling back. I mean, these are life-changing events, and we get to be a part of that. So
That's great. Okay, so tell us how a live answering service impacts the customer experience for franchisors versus automated.
well, I'm going to go back to when was the last time you had a relationship with an automated option?
Right.
Right? Your call is important to us. You're 485th in line and your wait time is 16 hours. And literally that happened to me a couple weeks ago. And I thought, are you serious? Like, this is crazy. I had to write it down. So the answering service can impact the customer experience just because you're picking up the phone. Now, if an answering service can't answer all the questions, and quite frankly, shouldn't answer all the questions, the reality of it is it's a human. And if you ask the right questions and set an appointment, they stop shopping. And so that is a great way for franchisors to connect. And it's a great way for them to start the interaction.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, anything from a sales standpoint, I'll tell you, they say that right away. You know, if someone's calling, for example, I of course work with the National Franchise Show, and there are a few different options. If I'm not picking up the phone right away, you know, and I won't mention any names, but someone always tells me, you know, I call this other exhort, they haven't even called me back, and it's been 3 days, and it's like, we all know, you know, if you're not answering them within the first 5 to 10 minutes, you know, you're significantly dropping your close ratios. If you let it go an hour or a day, you're going down by 50%. So from a sales standpoint, I see it's invaluable for sure.
And it's interesting how franchisors, okay, let's just go with franchisors. They're looking to change somebody's life. They want to engage with them. They want to sell a franchise. They want to change that person's life. When they call or when they engage on whatever level they do, if you're not responding, and 50% aren't. So
Wow.
we can help them with that. And you know, to your point, Michael, if people call, leave a message, and nobody calls them back, guess what? They're never going to refer you. Just think about all the implications, right? If you
Yeah.
call somebody back and provide them a great service, or even can't offer them that service, but provide them, you know, the Macy's gimbal thing, go here because they can help you, you're still going to get a referral. So those leads, those calls are the hottest lead that you will ever get because they've taken the time to look you up and to dial your number.
Exactly.
This is my own personal question. If you don't know the answer, we can find out later. But do you know like conversion rates on answering the phone versus not? Like, I mean, let's see what I'm trying to say. Like if somebody answers the phone and then they sell them, like what is the normal conversion rate? Is there a normal conversion rate of, I know, and
It's hard just because, Michael, he's gonna sell me, you're gonna sell me, we're gonna close, right? It really is gonna depend on the salesperson at that side, but I know exponentially it goes up almost 75% just by picking up the phone because
it.
you're all of a sudden there. And if you ask the right questions and you set an appointment or close them at that time, I mean, those are pretty good stats. But
Yeah.
I don't have data for that, so I can't tell you what resource that is.
It
But
was a very broad question, sorry.
but if you pick up the phone, you're 75% of the way there. If you
Right,
don't pick up the phone, you're zero.
Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. I think whether it's customer service or sales or it doesn't matter what, you should absolutely be picking up the phone. I am now your number one advocate. um, so tell us, in your experience, what do you find that are the key advantages of using a human voice? I know we talked about it a little bit, but for franchisee support, and how does that contribute to the brand consistency?
Well, I think the human voice is very powerful. It can support franchisees in the same way that it can support franchisors. We're here to answer the calls, to gather the information, and to set appointments. Why? If you get an appointment on the books, chances go down by 95% of that person continuing to shop. To you guys, when was the last time you had called a service company, let's just say a service company, for example, and they did not schedule an appointment for them to come out to your house? Did you continue to shop until you got somebody to finish, to show
Totally.
up to,
100%. Yeah.
right? And I have too. The other thing is brand consistency. If you set up a script and if they call an answering service, that script is going to be used every single time. So thank you for calling Acme. Thank you for calling Acme. Thank you for calling Acme. It's not going to be, hey, what's up? And in the last, in the last little while, I actually called some service companies, and one of the companies literally said, Joe's Bar and Grill, you stab them, we slab them. And I thought to myself, okay, like there's so many red flags that go off there. No, I don't want this person coming to my house, but what a way to lose business, right? Thank somebody for calling. Introduce your company name. Joe's Bar and Grill, you stab them, we slab them, is only going to get me to hang up the phone. Right? I mean, are you kidding me? And these are real stories that have happened within the last, few months. That's the surprising part of it. For brand consistency and for franchisee support, when a roofer's on a roof, he should not answer the phone. He or she should not answer the phone. When they're, let's say, a plumber or an electrician, when they're in the middle of their job, they shouldn't answer the phone. The other side of that is when they are in front of a potential client, they should not answer the phone. They should be there. They should be where their feet are. They should engage in what's happening at that moment. So having a human voice, an answering service, or somebody who can do that and maintain that, one is going to bring value to you as a franchisee and when they shop you. But two, it's going to bring value to your customers because they're going to experience the same thing if they live in Oregon and move to Toronto.
I love that you just said that. It drives me crazy when I'm in a business and I'm there, I waited in line, I get to my turn, and then the phone rings and they take the call.
Yeah.
And I know that they're small business, they have to take the call. So obviously a solution like this is really good, but it's not, they don't even put them on hold. They take the call and help that person. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I was here, we were in it.
Right. And I have money. I have money to
Right.
give you, and I'm right here. Please don't make it hard for me, and please don't frustrate me by taking somebody else, because now what they've done is they said, you're not as important as this phone call is.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so outsource that phone call to people who can help so that you can get back to them. And the phone call is now not frustrated. But when you have somebody in front of you, that should be your priority always and 100%. Don't make it difficult and don't frustrate people who are going to give you money. It just doesn't make sense.
Totally agree. Okay, so what are some common misconceptions about answering services that that franchisors should be aware of when they're making decisions?
I think that's a great question. There are so many. One of them is small brands. They don't think that they need an answering service until they're a large system. Even on the Fran Dev side, if you have, let's say you have 3 or 4 people and you have 2 locations, yes, you can utilize an answering service by leaps and bounds at this point. And the reason is they can help again qualify, screen for potential new franchisees. And on the franchisee side, they can help by backing them up. They can be the backup. We don't have to be your answering service 100% of the time. We can back you up. So I tell franchisors, you're going to know more about your business than we ever are going to know. We're here to back you up. We're here to support you no matter what your size. And quite frankly, a lot of large brands have internal call centers because they understand the value of it and they're there to help their franchisees grow. So I would say definitely that is the biggest misconception is they don't need it. And the reality is don't ever let a call go unanswered because they do. And they can dictate the time. So there's so many things. The other thing is answering services are impersonable. And I think that's a very interesting concept because if you set up an answering service, you should have your service ask questions that you need the information to, so you can now then again either set an appointment and or start that interaction. If you leave a message with me, Leanne, and it says call Leanne and I haven't asked any questions, the person who gets that call, Michael, he's going to call you and you're going to start off on a, okay, how can I help you? But if we ask the questions that Michael needs to have a good engaging point, an engaging start point, then that makes the conversation much better. I always tell franchise systems, if you're not closing the deal on the call and you are using an answering service, utilize them to book that appointment. Some franchisees say you can't do what we can. And that's right. Again, we're never going to know what they are going to know, but have us ask the right questions, name, number, email, address, service need, and get them on the books, because capturing that information once again is going to be a good starting point for them to talk. And then finally, one of the things is that answering services lack brand knowledge. There are answering services out there like AnswerConnect where you can have a dedicated team that actually are trained with your brand knowledge and can act as an internal center. So, talk to the people that you're looking at for those pieces of information, because there's a lot of things that can be done by answering services. And then finally, outbound calls. They say, what about the fill forms? And this is on the franchisee side as well as the franchisor side. The Fran Dev, have somebody make an outbound call, because if you're not getting to them for 8 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours, or missing 50% of them, how much are you missing? So have somebody call, at least the interaction has started. The person might not pick up the phone, but they might. And what happens if they do? You now have a starting point.
Yeah, I was going to ask
true.
about training. So that's cool that they could have a dedicated team to like really know the brand in and out.
Yeah.
I love it. And you know what's so funny is, sorry,
No.
even from what you were saying about have them like probe a little bit. It's so true, because even I'm going to bait myself out a little bit, but when I call a franchise brand, I don't ever disguise myself, but I say, can I speak? I'm looking to speak with somebody in franchise development, especially if it's a newer brand and I have no idea who they are. Or, it might be the owner that's doing the franchise development. It might not be. And so I'll say, who's in franchise development? They take my name, phone number. That's it. The guy calls me back thinking I'm a franchise prospect, but really then I go into my pitch and I start telling him about the trade show. But he could have kind of alleviated that whole situation there with a little bit more probing. And sure, then, at least for me, I would think, okay, yeah, I'll call that guy back, but maybe it's not on the top of the priority list. Maybe it is, but if it's a franchisee prospect, boom, I'm going to call him back right away.
Right. In the priority, that's something that I want to just tick on really quick or hit on really quick is that you can prioritize your day by having an answering service do that because I'm a solicitor, right? Let's face it, I'm a solicitor. I'm calling people, I'm in sales, I'm a solicitor. I still believe that people want to talk to me because we can help them solve a problem, but I may not be on the top of the list because they may be getting back to you, Michael, because you're a prospect.
Yeah,
And let that service help you prioritize your day.
exactly. No, it's so true. That's you know what, I don't know if we want to go here. I've never done this because this is a educational podcast in nature, but only if you're comfortable, and we could leave it offline. What kind of range are we talking about from a cost standpoint? Is this like on a monthly kind of cost? I guess maybe it ranges depending on how much you need or what service, right?
Yeah, we're a subscription-based service, and so it's month to month. We personally don't have a contract because I work with the franchise systems, and I want the franchise systems that I work with to know that I'm in it as much as I believe that they should be in it. We both have skin in the game. On average, we have tens of thousands of clients, and on average, our bill ranges, $350 to $400 a month for 24-hour service. And
Wow.
now it's going to change depending on, how many questions you have us ask or how many, if we set an appointment or what we're doing for you. A basic message is about 2 minutes. A screened call is probably somewhere between 5 and maybe 10 minutes on average. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty great option for people. You can't hire a receptionist in the US, the UK, or Canada to take calls 24 hours a day for $400 a month.
Right.
Yeah, so true. So true. Unbelievable.
Really affordable.
Very affordable, in my opinion. And we can do a lot of things. We can integrate with a lot of CRMs. So we capture that information. And if it's a potential new client, push it right into a CRM, which then starts a drip campaign, which then starts, following up procedures. There's a lot of things that we can do. Yeah.
I love
Great.
it.
All right. Well, we're towards the end of our time here. Is there anything else you want to cover before I ask you about your blue hair?
Well, if people want to find out more, of course, they can reach me at Karen@AnswerConnect.com. That's the best way to reach me. But we also have a number people can dial, and it's 888-822-2034. And my team would love to assist if I'm not available.
That's great. And you're at every franchise event, so.
I am at every franchise event. Just look for the blue hair.
And then some, yes. So tell us about the blue hair. What is
It's
on
funny.
the-
It's funny that you asked that because I just posted about it today being Halloween.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was something. Okay, let's rewind just a second. My hair turned white when I was 18, and I didn't color. I colored it for a couple of years, but then I just said this is too much. Well, in the 60s and the 70s, we used to call ladies with white hair, who were generally older, blue hairs. And the reason we did is they would go to the salon and they would get their hair colored with blue hair because it would take the yellow from smoking, right? Those chemicals from smoking out of your hair. Well, I didn't know, and nobody told me you weren't supposed to use it every day. So my hair started turning a little bit blue, not blue like it is today, but a little bit blue. And when my littles were in school, they were asked to draw a picture of their mom for Mother's Day, and mine did. And she drew it with blue hair. Well, the teacher was confused and thought maybe Brianna was confused and said, honey, they don't grow blue hair. They don't have blue hair. She said, my mom does. You're a liar. And this little bitty thing calling the teacher a liar got me a phone call. And I went down to the school and I had light blue hair. And the teacher looked at me and said, oh, I can see where this came from. And I said, I'd like you to apologize to my daughter because she doesn't know that I don't grow this. Mind you, she's in preschool and, a little bitty thing. And so the teacher refused. And I thought, she said, but it's not natural. And I said, okay, we're talking about a little who doesn't understand that and doesn't know the difference. And you just made her feel like she's doesn't know what's going on in her own house. So I picked her up because she wouldn't apologize, and I left. And when I got home, I told my husband the story, and I said, I'm going to dye my hair blue. And he kind of looked at me and said, okay, you guys know me a little bit, so you know that like I'm just going to do it. And he asked me, how long are you going to do this? And I said, for the rest of my kids' lives, or the rest of my life. I want them to know that I have their back. And by having this blue hair, it will show them that I will have their back. And if somebody says somebody doesn't grow blue hair, I'll show up with the blue hair. I will tell them that I've grown it. So I have had blue hair for over 20 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I love that story so much. Just the power of you, of a mom, right? Like having your daughter's back.
Right.
That's a
And
commitment.
it's nice that I'm tall like you, Leanne. I'm tall, and so all my kids and all of their friends could see me. So their moms would actually use me as a beacon. Hey, if you can't see Mama Kay, then you've gone too far. And so all of these kids would always look for the lady with the blue hair. And they were always told, if you ever get lost, go find the lady with the blue hair.
Oh,
And I think it's powerful when you let your kids know that you're in it for them. And
right.
we all do in different ways, and this just happens to be my way. And at this point, I don't think I could get rid of it. Would you recognize me?
Right.
So
Exactly.
true. So true.
Well, on that
So,
note, Karen, thank you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, note to self, pick a good color.
Right? Good thing you didn't pick orange or something. I love the blue. Well, thank you, Karen, for coming on our show. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you at multiple events, but we'll see you at Let's Grow in Dallas in
Yes,
February.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. All right. So that was great, as I knew it would be. Thanks again, Karen. You are fantastic as always. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. So folks, if you like what you heard here, I've said it 10 times, well, maybe 16 or 15, but we'll make it 16. Please leave us a 5-star review if you did like it. Even if you didn't like it, just click on the 5-star and subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. It does help us grow and get the word out there to the franchise community. We'll see you in a couple of weeks with more unfiltered news and education from both sides of the border. In the meantime, here's what's going on the calendar in our final segment, which is Franchise Mingle. Man, I really like that name, Franchise Mingle.
Every time.
I'm telling you, there's something about it. Anyways, Franchise Mingle is brought to you by the National Franchise Show, producers of 25 franchise shows on both sides of the border. Leanne, what's up for Franchise Mingle?
All right. Well, we finally get a break here in December, but first up next year, Let's Grow Dallas on February 2nd through 4th. Registration is still open, but it will sell out. So if you haven't booked yet, please do. Then we'll be at the IFA shortly thereafter, February 10th through the 13th in Vegas. We will both be there, and I'll be stalking Michael's booth with the National Franchise Show. And then we've got spring events with the National Franchise Show. They've announced a whole bunch of them in New York, New Jersey, Dallas, which is back to back with Let's Grow Dallas, Nashville, Chicago, Virginia, DC, Vegas. There's a couple more that I'm missing.
Houston and Orlando.
Houston and Orlando. So make sure if you want a booth and expand regionally to reach out to Michael. This episode is brought to you by Architect, Franchise Assembly, Hello Mastermind, and the National Franchise Show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, folks. We'll see you next week. Ciao.